Hey guys, welcome back to L&D Home. Today we have a DIY video for you guys, and I bet you couldn't guess, it's fall related. So ready for fall, guys. I hope you are too. In today's video, we are going to be creating some fall DIYs that are centered around pumpkins. We're going to be using some Dollar Tree items and some items from our craft stash to create some beautiful, easy, and cheap fall pumpkins. So if you want to see what DIYs I created that maybe you can recreate yourself at home, just keep watching. First DIY, we're going to be using these Hot Wheels tracks. I'm going to be using 4 of them. I'm just taking the packaging off, and then I'm going to be cutting off that side strip. I tried to do this with the full strip of Hot Wheels tracks, and it just wasn't wanting to hold together. It was a little too bulky. So I am going to just be using the middle part and kind of cutting off that rim. I did try scissors, and I also tried an X-Acto knife. At first, I didn't like the scissors because, well, they hurt my hand. The X-Acto knife, you have to be very careful to keep your line straight because it can go off course really quickly. But I did find in the end that I really liked the X-Acto knife because it just hurt my hand less. And if you use like a mat underneath so you don't cut your work surface, then I suggest if you want to do this project or just use these Hot Wheel tracks for other crafts that you do use the X-Acto knife. It's less harsh on your hands because the scissors were really making my hands cramp up pretty badly. Once you have all 4 of your pieces cut, we are just going to attach the first one kind of into an orb, into a circle, and I'm just kind of trimming off this little part here. The X-Acto knife, like I said, was not exact, but it was easier on the hands. So what I'm going to be doing with this first piece is I'm pretty much matching up those holes, and I am just going to mark with a pen. Now the pen didn't really write on this, but it did kind of make kind of an indentation so I could see where to place my hot glue. And you want to put a ton of hot glue on here, and then to hold it, I'm just using these clips from a Dollar Tree so I don't have to actually sit here and hold it. I want to make sure it's a really good hold, so I did let this dry for a few minutes each time I added hot glue. So we're just placing those holes on top of each other, and we're just going to clamp it down, and we're going to let this dry. Now that we have our first circle, we are going to place our piece on the bottom. And in order to kind of find the center, I just took that second piece, I folded it in half and just kind of crimped it a little bit. That way it left a tiny little mark so I could figure out where my center point was. And then again, I just kind of scratched that so I could place my glue. Now I tried to use some super glue, but it did not go well. Excuse me. I put it on there, I let it sit for probably like 5 to 10 minutes, and it just did not work. So I ended up going back with hot glue. Now that I have that piece in place, again, I'm just going to line up my holes. And before I attach it to that first piece, I want to attach it to itself. That way it attaches to the first piece really well. So we're just doing this in steps. Like I said, every time we add some hot glue, we're clamping it and I'm letting it sit for a few minutes to make sure I have a really nice hold, and I'm using lots of hot glue on each of these parts. Now you can see I'm about to attach these pieces together, and same thing, clamp them and let them sit. Make sure your hot glue is fully dry or this thing is just going to fall apart because the hot glue really had trouble sticking to this shiny plastic. You may want to try and sand it first. That might be helpful. I just didn't think about that until I was halfway through, and I just couldn't be bothered. So now we're placing our third piece at a diagonal, and again, we're just going to do that same thing that we have been doing with our hot glue and our clamps. As we do this third piece and then our fourth piece, I'm actually attaching it to what we've already made. Unlike that second piece where I attached it to itself first, I'm attaching this right to our kind of orb pumpkin, and making sure that everything is nice and secure. Again, adding lots of hot glue so it stays. I then, once I finished all 4 of my pieces and got it looking like a pumpkin, I went outside and sprayed it with this Krylon Fusion all-in-one matte pale sage spray paint. I've really been liking this, and I had to give it quite a few coats, guys, because it was orange and there was lots of nooks and crannies, so it took me a while. While I was waiting on that to dry, I'm taking this circle wall decor from the Crafter Square section at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be taking some watered down acrylic paint. This is melted chocolate from Apple Barrel, and I'm just going to, excuse me guys, I'm so sorry, be using this as a stain on the top and bottom and all around the edges. Once both pieces are dry, I'm ready to attach them. I had a little bubble at the bottom, so I wanted to just cut that off so it laid nice and flat. And I'm going to be using a ton of hot glue on the bottom to make sure that it really stays. And to help it kind of stay while it dries so I don't have to hold it, I'm just using a candle. And I'm just going to set that candle on top of it until everything is fully dry, just to make sure everything's nice and adhered together and nothing falls off. It was kind of tricky to shove that candle in there, but I got it. Now I'm using some berry picks from Walmart, and what I did with one of them is I just cut off all the leaves. I'm going to save 2 for the top where I'm going to be placing my stem, and I'm going to be using the rest to kind of enhance the bottom a bit, along with some of the orange parts from the berry picks and some other things from Walmart, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a high-end look so it's not so boring on the bottom. And it's also going to help hide some of our crazy hot glue mess as well. So I'm just going to be embellishing with some berry picks and some other greenery from Walmart. And for my stem, you're going to see that I'm going to use just a piece of tree branch that we cut off one of our bushes. I just sawed a small piece off and sanded the bottom so it sat nice and flat. And I like that it's really, really natural. It was free in my yard waste bin, and I think it looks really, really cute. I absolutely love the way this turned out. I just styled mine with a flameless candle. It's a little bit bigger than I would use, but I couldn't find anything smaller. But a votive holder and a flameless tea light from Dollar Tree would actually work really perfect inside of this pumpkin. I absolutely love it, and I will definitely be putting it up this year in our fall decor when we decorate. For our last fall pumpkin project of the day, I'm just using some scrap fabric. All I did was I took a plate, traced around it, and cut out a circle. And I am going to be using that to make a pumpkin. I have this old throw pillow that I don't really love, so I just cut it open so that I could use some of the insides. And I have a ton left for other projects, so this was actually pretty awesome. What I decided to do is take a toilet paper roll and put it in the middle and put the fluffing all the way around it and in the middle of it. And then I realized my toilet paper roll was a little bit too tall, so I had to actually cut it in half, and that worked a lot better, and it just allowed me to glue my fabric to the toilet paper roll, which was my plan in the first place. So once I cut it in half, I'm going to put all of that fluffing back around it, and I'm going to start gluing in sections. So I'm going to take one side, glue it down, take the opposite side, and so on, and start gluing it to the inside of my toilet paper roll. After I had all of my sides glued down and everything was fluffed, I then just took a scrap piece of like poster board paper that I had, and I glued it to a piece of that fabric and cut it out. That way I had a nice flat base for my stem and all of my greenery to sit on. I then decided to fill the middle with some quick oats. Now rice or dried beans would have been better, but I didn't have anything that heavy. This is all I had because I tried to use the fluff, but it just kept moving around too much. So I wanted something more solid. That way when I glued my piece down and started pushing on my stem and all of that, it didn't move around because it was squishing into the middle and moving sideways. And I wanted it to be nice and sturdy. So now I'm just going to add my stem. Again, I'm just using another stick from that bush branch that we had in our yard waste and some more of that greenery that we used for our first pumpkin, and just dressing it up a little bit and making it nice and cute. And here's how our fabric pumpkin turned out. I think it is adorable, and I will be making more of these in different sizes. Let me know down below in the comments which pumpkin was your favorite, the fabric one or the pumpkin lantern that we made. Thank you guys so much for watching this video today. Please check out the fall video up above and the playlist that'll pop up as well. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We will see you in the next video. And remember, you are awesome sauce.